Thanks for your patience. Here we go.
Good morning. I'm Chelsea Ruby, and I have the great privilege to serve as the new Secretary of the newly established West Virginia Department of Tourism. I'm thrilled to be here with you all today as we launch the nation's premier talent attraction program. You're going to hear this morning about a truly collaborative program. We've taken together state government, an institution of higher learning, and two incredible donors, Brad and Alys Smith. Brad Smith is a native of Canova, West Virginia, a graduate of Marshall University. He has reached the greatest of heights in both the business and technology worlds, and he has spent his life trying to give back to the great state of West Virginia. We are so incredibly fortunate to have Brad and Alys with us on this program. The program you're going to hear about today is really an extension of the Almost Heaven brand that we've spent the last couple of years creating. We've been really fortunate to invest in tourism advertising, and now much of the nation and the world knows about Almost Heaven, West Virginia. They think about our great state as a place you can go to visit, to escape the crowds, a place you can experience world-class outdoor recreation, and a place where you can escape it all to the mountain towns full of culture and to the friendliest people on the planet. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to take that message one step further, and we're going to invite people to take a permanent vacation in the place John Denver dubbed Almost Heaven 50 years ago. Like all of our programs, the governor was very involved with helping us set up the details of it. So early on, I remember a meeting over at the governor's mansion where we were looking at the tax structure relating to remote workers. We knew that we had to modernize our tax plan. So we had this meeting and we had laid out 3 very complicated plans. And at the end of it, we said, "Governor, which plan do you want?" He sort of laughed and looked at us and said, "The plan that will put West Virginia on top." So that's exactly what we did. The next week in his State of the State address, the governor introduced a bill or sent a bill up to the legislature that did just that. It modernized our tax structure to make us a more attractive place for companies who are looking to place remote workers. I'm thrilled that that bill passed both chambers with bipartisan support, and today we're going to witness a little bit of history as the governor signs that bill into law. But before we go on to that, I want to talk briefly about a trend that we've seen evolving here in West Virginia. I'm proud to say that our great state, little old West Virginia, has really become a national and international leader. We've had a lot of publicity over the last year as the governor has led us to national headlines about our response to COVID and our vaccine distribution. But it's not just that. West Virginia is making headlines as an innovative state. We're making headlines as we do things with NOAA, with Toyota, and of course, Virgin Hyperloop. Today, we're going to do it again as we launch the best remote worker program there is. This program is so innovative. It's going to be one of the most competitive ones in the country, and it really is going to create headlines as we once again show that little old West Virginia knows how to do things right. Ascend West Virginia will take this state to great heights, and I'm so proud to have played a small part in it. So at this point, I want to give huge thanks to our governor who has helped lead us here today, has led us to all these headlines over the last year, and will keep leading us as we move forward. So at this point, I'd like to introduce to you the governor of the great state of West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice.
Well, Secretary Ruby, and that sounds fancy, and what an incredible young lady she is. You know, Chelsea has done so much good work in tourism and lots of different things with our state. You know, she's stuck on all the time, and her enthusiasm is just unbelievable, and that's really great stuff. So now we have a new department, a new cabinet head and everything. And we have with us today in our audience our Secretary of Commerce, Ed Gaunch, who also does phenomenal work. And in addition to that, we have a new cabinet head from the standpoint of economic development in Mitch Carmichael. You see, at the end of the day, what we've really tried so hard to do is we've tried to expand job opportunity and look at all the goodness that surrounds our state with beauty, with 4 seasons beyond belief. We have expanded tourism phenomenally in the last few years. We have been to frogs that are now really truly proud of their own pond. And in all of that, now we go to another step, a step with 2 individuals, Brad and Alys. You know, they have done so much, so much. They're incredibly bright people, but they give back too. And so in my State of the State, I very proudly announced, you know, how we would be moving forward in a remote worker program in a spirit of bringing people to this state because people so badly want to come. That in combination with our broadband efforts will bring so many more people to West Virginia. We hope and pray at least. And so in many ways, I can never thank Brad and Alys enough for their very generous contribution. I congratulate the towns of Morgantown, Shepherdstown, and Lewisburg for being our first 3 pilot cities that will absolutely receive workers and receive this program efforts in the very beginning days. But all of us, supporting from tourism, commerce, economic development, all the great stuff that Brad and Alys are doing, with all of us all in, we all want this program to spread, do we not? Spread all across this great state. What an opportunity this great state has, and we absolutely need to go forward in every way. The last thing I would say in regard to just this is Brad and Alys embody the almost heaven spirit. They absolutely do. We could never thank them enough. I can never thank this young lady to my right, the amount of effort and enthusiasm that she gives, along with our commerce and our economic development secretaries and all the people that are just pulling the rope, along with our Senate and House that generously stepped up and said, we're all in as well. What an incredible program. It was a real honor in introducing it into the State of the State. I stand right behind that wholeheartedly. And again, I thank Brad and Alys so much. Thank you again and again. I'm going back now to Chelsea. I'm signing. That's even better. Okay. Now I want to read this to you real quick. I don't read much in the world, but I want to just read this very quickly. It says, today I am signing a bill that I propose that modernizes our corporate tax structure. Think about that. I mean, just think about that. To allow us to attract and retain these remote workers. I'm happy that the Senate and the House of Delegates overwhelmingly passed this bill, and I am honored to sign it into law. This legislation is long overdue. Fundamental change and modernizations to our corporate tax structure, which is absolutely necessary as we continue to move West Virginia forward. It's a bold step toward making West Virginia the most attractive state in the nation. We've all known that we were the most attractive state. Now all we're doing is capitalizing on the world looking at West Virginia as that diamond in the rough that they missed. We're wanting to be the most attractive state in the nation for remote workers and for all businesses, for that matter, which is exactly at the bottom line to what we work for. And that is just this, to be that diamond that everybody's missed. And so now I'm going to sign these, and I'm going to pass them on to our great Secretary of Tourism and everything. It's right beside me. And so just bear with me just a second. I'm fumbling around here. Okay. It's with great honor, great honor, I sign this into law, and it's with absolute great appreciation that I thank Brad and Alys for all their help. I've got 3 more copies to sign, but this is the real deal. All right, thank you, Chelsea.
you.
And if y'all wouldn't have put these little stickers on there where they're getting all the pages stuck together, this would have been a little easier. Oh, I'm going to sign these with different pens. Wow. There you go, young lady.
Right.
Okay, another great day for West Virginia. Thank y'all so much. And now am I passing on to somebody else? Oh, I'm passing to Brad and Alys. That's really great. All right, Brad and Alys, it's your show now. Thank you again for all you've done. You've absolutely taken us off in every way. We could never in the world, I promise you, nobody on the planet is more appreciative than I am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor Justice, for your kind words and your visionary leadership. Brad and I consider it a privilege to work with you, your talented leadership team, and all those who have leaned in to make this program possible. We have been inspired by the innovation, the agility, and the inclusiveness with which you, West Virginia University, and their team have leaned in to tackle grand challenges in support of shared strategic dreams. It is the alignment of these shared strategic dreams and goals that have led us to this moment. You know, when Brad and I started the Wing to Wing Foundation, our goal was to power possibility and level the playing field of opportunity in Appalachia through the advancement of education, entrepreneurship, and environment.
That's right, Governor and Secretary Ruby. We are so indebted to everything that you and the legislature and the team at West Virginia University, led by President Gee and Dr. Twilley and so many others, have done. And we are so excited about today's announcement and the timing of today's announcement, because we believe it represents a strategic intersection. It's an intersection where our state's most valued assets, our people and our gorgeous communities, along with these outdoor recreational assets, intersect perfectly with 4 major trends that are shaping the future around the world. The first trend is an increased focus and an investment in entrepreneurial education. And this comes at a time when 75% of those who graduate school today say they want to start their own business instead of working for someone else. And 75% of all net new jobs in local economies are created by startups and small businesses. The second major trend is an increased emphasis on design thinking and experiential learning, inspiring in our youth the desire to learn science, technology, engineering, arts, and math through hands-on experiences like the Science Adventure School or Science Behind the Sports at West Virginia University, or our simulated workplace program in grades K through 12. And if you think about it, this is important because neuroscientists have studied the cognitive learning capability of kids born after the invention of the iPhone. And they've discovered some pretty interesting facts. These young kids possess the ability to do something no other generation before them could do. It's called continuous partial attention, the ability to do multiple things simultaneously with equal skill. That's the positive. The challenge is the average attention span is now 8 seconds. 1 decade ago, it was 12 seconds. And a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. So our educators now recognize they have to teach through both learning and doing, bringing those 2 things together, which is why it's so important to have these kinds of programs. The third major trend is a trend towards remote working. Now, this trend was alive and well heading into COVID when it was estimated roughly 4 million people in the United States had permission to live anywhere they wanted while doing their jobs. But coming out of COVID, that number is now estimated to be between 37 to 47% of the US workforce will be able to live and work and play in these new communities. And then the fourth major trend is a shift in geographic preference. Rural has become the new urban. Studies suggest that over 1/3 of people who live in major metropolitan markets like New York and Boston and LA and San Francisco and Chicago are actively considering moving now and relocating to a more rural community. And here we sit. Here West Virginia sits in the middle of this intersection as we cultivate this next generation of entrepreneurs who are the descendants of the great mountaineers who learned how to blaze trails instead of follow paths, the very DNA of an entrepreneur. We're surrounded by these amazing mountains and these rivers and these trails that once served as walls, but they now serve as welcome signs as rural becomes the new urban. And we are experiencing an unparalleled alignment of interests between West Virginia natives who come back and give back, between our elected officials at the federal, state, and the local level reaching across the aisle, between our educational institutions, everyone leaning in, seizing this moment and partnering together. And one of the things we're really excited about is the Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative in partnership with West Virginia University, because it has three major goals. The first is to inspire in our youth the desire to learn these entrepreneurial skills while also doing it in an outdoor environment, which also instills in them a sense of pride for the state from which they come. And hopefully this is going to reverse that brain drain that we've suffered for so many generations as young men and women decide to stay in our state. The second primary goal is to invite those who already have these skills to move to West Virginia and make it their new permanent home where they can live, work, and play through today's program, which we call Ascend West Virginia. And then the third goal is to invest in our infrastructure, preserving the natural beauty around us while making these outdoor assets more accessible, which strengthens both our economy and these local communities. And today we are announcing the premier, nation's #1 remote workforce recruitment program called Ascend West Virginia. And if people choose West Virginia as their home, they will receive $12,000 in relocation and retention incentives. They'll get a year's worth of free outdoor activities. They'll have access to state-of-the-art co-working facilities and their choice of originally the 3 host cities, which are 3 amazing mountain communities, but eventually will expand beyond those host cities. In these communities, they'll get to know our people. They'll find out why we are the kindest people on earth. They'll also get continuing education programs. And then sitting outside their walls, they will be surrounded by amazing whitewater, snow skiing, rock climbing, hiking, mountain biking in these idyllic hallmark communities at a cost of living that is 16% less expensive than the national average. And if that is not exciting enough, they'll be joining a movement. They'll be a part of this effort we call Startup West Virginia. We're exciting programs that involve Virgin Hyperloop, or the National Weather Service and the NOAA Big Data Project, or Toyota, or sustainable farming, or biomedicine, and all the other amazing things our state is doing. They can come in and actively participate. So today, as we introduce Ascend West Virginia, we have rolled out the West Virginia red carpet. If you are an adventurous spirit who wants to move to a community where you can live, work, and play, and you want to be a part of a movement that has the opportunity to change lives for generations to come, then we welcome you to submit your application and join us in Ascend West Virginia. And if they want to get a sample of what it feels like to live in a place like West Virginia, I simply ask them to sit back and watch this video. Can we roll the video, please?
It's a climb that's been started by so many. A climb taken by those who seek a life less ordinary, who long to break free from the mundane and move to a higher place, one that offers experiences simple and pure. The climb to West Virginia begins with the promise of discovery, and ends in a place that feels like home the moment you arrive. There are no crowds or concrete jungles here, just rivers, mountains, and room to put down roots. Our mountain towns are home to some of America's greatest innovators, makers, and downright hard workers who have reached the peak and uncovered our greatest secret, that this is a heavenly place that gives to you more than it takes back. In West Virginia, we live and work just steps away from the landscape that inspires us and unearth new opportunities along every winding trail. Here, we work together to reach new heights and create a life worth living. Ascend West Virginia.
The gates to almost heaven are now open, and I hope everyone will submit their application to Ascend West Virginia and join us in this next exciting chapter in the Mountain State. And with that backdrop, it is my privilege to introduce one of the most preeminent, foremost thinkers in our nation's higher education system, Dr. Gordon Gee. President Gee has led major institutions for more than 3 decades. He has been rated by Time Magazine as one of the top 10 university presidents in the United States. He was recently ranked #1 university president by a leading online education website. And the reason why is because he's a visionary that brings a unique combination of courage, compassion, and collaboration. And that makes him an incredible catalyst for change. But Alys and I are really privileged to call him our friend. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Gordon Gee, the president of West Virginia University.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I'm honored that I can be with you today, and Brad and Alys are very special. Let me first of all thank our governor for visionary leadership. We've just been through a legislative session, and our governor has really outlined a future for West Virginia, for which I'm grateful. And Chelsea Ruby, young, vibrant, makes a difference each and every day. So the opportunity to work with Chelsea has been a real privilege for me, but also her leadership has made such a difference in West Virginia. My colleagues at the university, my colleagues around higher education, our colleagues at Marshall University have been such valiant soldiers. So we have much to celebrate. This is my second time living in West Virginia, I might note, and so I call myself a born-again West Virginian, twice born-again West Virginian, and I'm here to stay. So I am grateful for all that West Virginia has done for me. And let me just note, just as an aside, that today is the 50th, April 12th, the 50th anniversary of the release of the John Denver single, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." If you can think about that, what a day to celebrate, and what a day to really appreciate what we are doing. So, Governor, Brad and Alys, all involved, thank you so very much for this opportunity. And let me just say about Brad and Alys that they didn't need to do this, but the two of them, as you heard from Alys particularly, that they are committed to not only making a difference, but making a difference in a state and at a place in which it is also in their heart and in which they believe has an immense purpose. So we're blessed with you, and I want to just say that. So we all know, of course, that West Virginia has been facing stormy economic weather for some time, and the pandemic has only darkened the horizon for many people. But by looking beyond these clouds, as we just saw in that wonderful video, we can also find opportunities, and that is what Brad talked about, to ignite our economy, to develop world-class recreational infrastructure, and expand outdoor educational programs. It in my estimation, it takes an especially acute vision to unveil those opportunities. And we're fortunate to have people who have been laser focused on the innovative solutions that lurk among that lurk among all of our problems. No one fits that description better than Brad. You just heard him. Recently, he turned his gaze on his home and his state and saw great potential for growth in our post-pandemic next normal, as we like to call it, which will include more remote workers than ever before. For those workers, West Virginia offers a breath of fresh air with less crowds and traffic, plus a better quality of life. Brad and Alys believe in West Virginia's appeal so strongly that the two of them donated $25 million to create the Brad and Alys Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative at West Virginia University. Now, we are fortunate that Governor Justice shares that vision and has charged his tourism and economic development departments to help lead state efforts. Ascend West Virginia, as we're calling it, which I love the name, by the way, will leverage West Virginia's outdoor assets to bring fresh talent to this beautiful place on earth. I firmly believe that this program aligns perfectly with our university's land grant mission. Ascend West Virginia joins initiatives such as Virgin Hyperloop, Vantage Ventures, and FinTech Sandbox that reflect the entrepreneurial-led approach our university has taken to drive economic development. We are embracing innovation and engaging with those whose eyes are cast to the future. So Ascend West Virginia will lure people from all corners of the globe to discover our state. And by embracing our assets, we will see afresh the breathtaking vistas that have been before us all along. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Danny Twilley, Assistant Dean of the Brad and Alys Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative. Dr. Twilley joined us, about a year ago now, and has been just a great partner in this whole effort. And Danny, I'm going to ask you to share more details about the Ascend West Virginia program and the role of the university in this exciting endeavor.
Well, I appreciate it, President Gee, Brad and Alys, Governor Justice, and Secretary Ruby. I am beyond honored to share with you all the package that we put together. And really the design of this package is to ease the transition for our new West Virginia and growing West Virginia family, but then also put in some programs in place to welcome you here, to create community for you. So you'll never, ever want to leave Almost Heaven. And so we have a relocation package valued at almost more than $20,000. When you take a look at some of the details of this package, we're going to ease the transition by offering $12,000 cash incentives. $10,000 of that will be paid in monthly installments over the first year, with $2,000 at the end of the second year. One of the most exciting things, so that's going to help you get here, help you kind of start exploring, start buying some of that new outdoor equipment that you'll need to play in your backyard. But one of the exciting things that we've done is we have over 20 outfitters from across the state that are offering free outdoor recreation. And really what this means is that we're going to have them free whitewater rafting, free hunting and fishing license, access to places like the Hatfield and McCoy trails. So once you're here and you get settled, now you can go out and explore this beautiful state. In addition, we're going to have free co-working space in the heart of our communities, so you can connect with the people. You can go to the local coffee shops. You can go play on your lunch break, after work. And this is going to be our community center, where you're going to connect with your other Ascend West Virginia members and start building this network of friendship and community and engaging, what makes West Virginians so special. After that, we're also going to have some free outdoor gear rentals. So that way you can, maybe you've always wanted to learn a new activity. So let's partner with someone who knows it, grab some of that equipment and go make new friends, go explore your backyard. We'll also be doing free or exclusive excursions. So family bike rides, maybe trips on the weekend with some of your newfound friends. In addition, we're going to be offering networking and community-related events so we can incorporate you as Ascend West Virginia members into your communities to become part of the fabric that is West Virginia. And then on top of that, we will offer a remote worker certification program through the John Chambers College of Business. And really what this is continuing education, right? This is fulfilling what we hold so dear at West Virginia University, is this idea of continuing to grow as individuals and professionals. And then we're also offering the WVU entrepreneurial ecosystem that is continuing with what Brad had talked about early, is this startup state, this idea of come here and make your dreams come true. Because by the way, we are almost heaven. I'm going to pass it back off to Governor Justice.
Well, let me just wrap up here as quickly as I possibly can. You know, whether it be Secretary Ruby or Secretary Gaunch or Secretary, Carmichael, or, all those down here from the standpoint of the government, I can speak absolutely just this way and speak to you from my heart. Things are really happening in West Virginia now. And as things are really happening, whether it be, the great assistance and help, that Brad and Alys have come up with an idea, with a concept, with an incredible donation, and with all the help and assistance of WVU, our great president, Gordon Gee, who is such an incredible friend, whether it be Gordon or Danny or Brad and Alys or Chelsea or whomever it may be, I can never thank you enough. You see, when I got here, things probably weren't as bright as what we would have all wished. But as we've been here, we've put in licks to make changes and make things really start to happen in West Virginia. There's so much more that we can do. But one of the very things we did was we put a stake in the sand that we were proud of ourselves and our heritage. Now, I'd end this thing by just saying just this. As far as this entire program, as far as the potential, it's unbelievable, especially today in we hope in an ex-COVID situation. But absolutely, the potential is unreal as to what we can do. But lastly, I would just say just this. Way back in running in a primary before I was ever elected, I truly believe that the good ideas that come to me come from the good Lord. And I'll probably take credit for all the bad ones, I will. But absolutely, I believe, and I said at that primary in a debate, and the idea just came really at that time. I said, where could there be a place? Where could there be a place that has 4 of the most beautiful seasons beyond belief? Where could there be a place that was located within 600 miles of 2/3 of the population of this country? Where could there be a place that abounded in natural resources, and that was coal, oil, gas, water, timber, all of the things that we think are tangible, but the things that are still right at our fingertips, were our people. Where could there be a place that had people that were good people, that were loving people, that were appreciative people, that were people that absolutely was the fabric of America, and maybe in America years and years ago, of peoples that knew the difference between right and wrong, of people that just weren't living their life to see what they could get by with. And now with this program, we're bringing people from around the world that absolutely are tired, maybe, exhausted with the people that they are surrounded around. A people that could come here and work and really touch what life is really all about. Beauty and goodness and truth and love, instead of all the other things that are troubling them in many ways. Absolutely, without any doubt in my mind, I can't see how anybody could not choose West Virginia. So Brad and Alys, I love you with all my soul, and I mean that very sincerely. You know, from the standpoint of Gordon and Danny and Chelsea and Ed and all those that are making a lick toward this, I can never thank you enough. But Brad and Alys, it doesn't happen without you. Thank you again and again. God bless.